Rievaulx Abbey, Rievaulx, is an English heritage property. We bought the membership last year for £98 at Bolsover Castle. The price has gone up to £128 this year for 2 adults, but the kids go in for free up to 6 kids. We have been to 5 English heritage properties this holiday, so it has paid for itself. This video is not sponsored by English Heritage. I just think it's a good buy if you like going around historical buildings. The first buildings at Rievaulx were temporary wooden structures. In the late 1130s, Abbot William began the construction of stone buildings around the present cloister. The northern part of his west range, which housed the abbey's lay brothers, still survives, as does a fragment of the south range. Famous Abbot Aelward, Rievaulx as a postulant in 1134, rising quickly to be elected abbot in 1147. He enjoyed a reputation as a brilliant writer and England's most revered biblical scholar, Latin stylist and pastoral master. By the time of his death in 1167, the community had doubled in size, having 140 monks and about 500 lay brothers. Many intricate bronze and brass taps and water piping and connectors were made by the monks for the building throughout the time. Water from the roofs was collected and stored in tanks that was used for washing and drinking. The monks brewed beer and made mead and wine. The wastewater from washing was recycled and kept in tanks low in the grounds of the buildings and used for their industry. Even though the river was close to the abbey for the summer months, they needed to conserve water from the winter rains stored. Under Rutland, the ironworks grew in scale. By 1545, enough iron ore was being smelted to keep 4 furnaces busy. The vaulted undercroft of the refectory was used as a dry place to store the charcoal used to heat up the ore to the temperature required to extract molten iron. The east range of the cloister was reconstructed on a vast scale to provide accommodation for the choir monks. To the east of this range Edward built his own lodging, the great infirmary hall and the novitiate around a second, infirmary cloister. Work continued under Edward's successor, Sylvanus, who rebuilt the south range of the cloister and completed the main cloister arcades in the 1170s. The new refectory was built, atypically, over a massive undercroft because of the steep slope of the valley side on which Abbot William had built his first stone monastery. The most significant alteration was the spectacular extension of the Abbey church in the 1220s, which provided the setting for the shrine dedicated to Edward. The suppression of Rievaulx Abbey. Rievaulx Abbey was shut down on December 3, 1558, as part of the suppression of the monasteries that took place under Henry VIII in 1548 to 1550. By this time Rievaulx's community had shrunk to just 23 monks. It was sold to Thomas Manners, 1st Earl of Rutland, who was closely associated with the royal court. Rutland dismantled the buildings, reserving the roof leads and the bells for the king. His steward at nearby Helmsley, Ralph Bod, recorded the process of dismantling, leaving remarkably detailed accounts of the process and the form and contents of individual buildings. One of the buildings within the Abbey precinct was called the Iron Smiths. Abbey records show that this was a water-powered forge used for making the many objects of iron required by a monastery, from nails to tools and cutlery. The success of this artful setting was apparent from the 1770s, when writers and artists came to the Abbey and recorded its effects. From the late 18th century, the Abbey became an increasingly popular destination for visitors. In the 1920s, Sir Charles Peers, Chief Inspector of Ancient Monuments, ordered the removal of much fallen debris to expose buried elements of the building. The work was carried out by war veterans. This policy of preservation and display set the style for the presentation of ancient monuments in Britain for the next 2 generations. Glyn Koppak BA PhD FSA is a monastic specialist who worked for English Heritage for 37 years. His research has concentrated on major sites in Yorkshire and particularly those of the Cistercians. If you have gotten this far, I thank you for watching. Please leave a like, I would appreciate it.